If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So autism has been on the mind. We've been speaking about autism, and it has been making headlines since the 90s, but it has been making some very concerning headlines as we have been seeing the numbers rise exponentially. One of the latest reports we spoke about yesterday was how autism was now calculated to be at a rate of 1 in 31 children, up from 1 in 35, up from 1 in 200. And a CDC report has said that 3% of children fall on the schedule, on the spectrum among 8 years old. This in 2022, there was a surveillance program called the Autism and Developmental Disabilities Monitoring Network. It began monitoring children aged 4 to 8 years old across 15 states. And they looked at multiple benchmarks of autism spectrum disorder. And among 8-year-old children, researchers found that 1 in 31, or more than 3% of American kids, had ASD. As I said previously last week, this 1 in 31 is still, I think, an underdiagnosis. Now many parents are choosing telemedicine. They're not necessarily bringing their kids in for vaccines. There's going to be fewer opportunities for physicians and medical providers to evaluate patients, not to mention the average family doesn't have the same doctor, the same pediatrician. So those, the olden days of you having a pediatrician that took care of all your kids, might have even taken care of you, knows the family well, are gone. We lost our doctor. Doesn't matter what Obama promised us. Most people lost their doctor. And so nowadays, you get a different doctor every time. So if you're bringing your child in for an ear infection or for vaccines, and the medical provider sees them once and doesn't necessarily, notice a change, or isn't as astute as looking at benchmarks of that child's development, they could miss it. So I believe that number is underdiagnosed. But a question that has come up time and time again is, are we doing something wrong to make children become autistic, or are they evolving to be more autistic? Are humans evolving to be more socially withdrawn, less social, less communicative, less, shall we say, some people on the autism spectrum may not be very athletically inclined, more embracing of repetitive movements or repetitive sort of behaviors. You would think that would be the no. We might be exposing pregnant moms to things, which is something RFK Jr. wants to investigate. Could it be radiation? Could it be medications? Could it be prenatal medications? They're reevaluating vaccines to see if those might be causing, even though we know autism is more genetic and not vaccine related, could the vaccines be causing a neuro side effect that could be causing then a neurodevelopmental issue? So while everybody's figuring out if a child is born one way and we are making it autistic, or there's a gene issue making it autistic, one theory that is starting to grow is this how humans are evolving? And is it for the good or for the bad. Now, we've spoken about this. A child with autism or an adult who's on the autism spectrum are some of the most intelligent people out there. And we might be looking at somebody who is, not necessarily lying or white lying or saying, oh, yeah, you look great in that dress, or, oh, yeah, that joke was funny, as superior to somebody going, that really wasn't funny. Or, no, that dress makes you look fat. No, this is boring. I mean, somebody gets diagnosed being on the spectrum when they say it like it is. Well, maybe we're evolving to that. Maybe we are evolving in some form to, no, we're not going to be giving in to these social norms. We're going to say it like it is. We're not going to laugh at something that's not funny. We're not going to try to dumb down just to get along with others. Now, in terms of Asperger children and athletic ability, that's been looked at, and it's concerning. We spoke about early on years ago when my show first started, what some parents could do to help their child who has Asperger's with their athletic ability is to use maybe Taekwondo or get them into swimming or get them into certain sports where they don't necessarily have to be on a team and get bullied, etc., where they could work on their own, athletic strengths, build muscle coordination, things like that. Not to mention Taekwondo or karate or judo or Krav Maga also teaches you how to defend yourself. So I think that's a pretty good thing to do for all of us. I think all of us need to learn that. But, we're doing things different with our children. Okay, our children are more homebodies. Our children are not out there playing in the dirt, getting exposed to illness and, either sinking or swimming, or we're very protective now. And understandably so, because we've seen bad things happen to kids. I had a friend of mine whose child fell while climbing a tree or a fence to get a ball, sustained a head injury and died. So, yeah, I'm going to be recommending to kids, don't be climbing trees. You'll fall and hit your head. But as a result, are kids developing differently? Are they evolving differently? They're not jumping into lakes. Well, we're worried about Nigeria fowleri. We're worried about these amoebas that could climb up into their nose and go to their brain. Well, I mean, we could put them in nasal clips and we could tell them to keep their head underwater, but we have a different population of kids. The average kid is not running around chasing gopher snakes. The average kid is not chasing mice, chasing rabbits, digging holes, frying grasshoppers, in the sun. Not that I want anybody to fry a grasshopper. I like grasshoppers. But are we evolving is one of the reasons why we now have 3% of our pediatric population on the autism spectrum. Is it because that's how we're evolving? 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away. Hi guys, Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Hotshot Secret Stiction Eliminator.
Stiction, that sticky friction, undermines the performance of diesel engines. Third-party ASTM testing verifies that Stiction Eliminator removes 2 times as much stiction than any alternative on the retail shelf. Stiction Eliminator is formulated to be left in the engine oil. It works as you drive.
Available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hotshot Secret. Powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or Facebook on the Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. So there's a couple different headlines. You're going to hear, sorry, God, I don't understand why my breakfast doesn't want to stay in my mouth. There's going to be a few different headlines you're going to see. One is that Lowe's is closing down thousands of locations this Sunday. They're giving their employees off for Easter. So it is a temporary closure to let their family, I think, be off for Easter. They'll reopen on Monday. I wouldn't panic about that. However, we are being told that Lowe's, as well as other companies, are moving towards closing down multiple locations. This has been something that's been going on for a while. And when I see these hardware stores or these electronic stores like Radio Shack or these underwear stores like Fredericks of Hollywood over the years closed down, from a consumer standpoint, there's a trend that we can't ignore. And that is where you used to go into a store and there was multiple goals or multiple aspects of value to that. One was going into a store to get a dress, let's say, or to get a hammer, but another aspect of you going into that store is to get advice. I need a suit for this. I am going to a graduation, so I need a suit for that, or I need something that'll fit me, or I have a date, yet I, cannot fit into the typical size B cup bras. And so somebody would come up as you walk into the store and say, can I help you? Now, I didn't like walking into underwear stores. I'm like, I could fit myself. And they're like, we really should probably, you're looking at C cups. And I think we should probably measure you. I'm like, fine. And then they would measure me. And I'm like, really? And but you would get something out of that because they would, help you buy something you need. So when you left that store, part of that customer service marketing or advantage that was not so much that you got a good product, but you got a product that was tailor-made for you. When I walk into Home Depot or I walk into Lowe's, a gentleman comes up and says, how can I help you? I'm like, I was like, I need a hammer. And apparently there's different types, I guess. I thought a hammer was a hammer. And then they would teach you. And they'd say, well, what are you working on? Well, I'm working on this. There's a spider and my shoe doesn't kill the spider. So I'm looking for a weapon that I could use to kill a spider. Oh, well, then you might want, a more wide, what are those called? The part that hits, whatever those are called. You might need a wider diameter of that. So let's take a look at that. Or you might need, this for your plumbing and so those individuals that were there would teach you and guide you. They would also suggest if sell, you're going to also need these nuts and bolts, or you're going to probably need this. If you're working on this project, did you also think about this? Are your knees bad? Are you going to need those knee, not braces, but knee cushions? Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I'm going to be on my hands and knees fixing the toilet. Thank you. And so there was a lot of value going in. There still is to some of these stores, but things have changed. Since COVID, many of these stores aren't staffed. So if I walk into a party store and I'm like, well, I need to do a theme and I want to make it a princess theme, but I don't know if I want to do Elsa or whatever, rather than somebody walking up and saying, here, let me guide you on this. It's, we're here at the cashier. We'll just check you out. So people have kind of learned that if they don't know what they want, they're going to be guessing, or they just go into the store, educate yourself, figure out what you want, and then go and buy it. Well, it obviously is only a matter of time when people are like, well, then why am I going into a store? Why don't I just buy it online? Now, online purchasing was made very, very popular with Amazon during COVID. And one reason why I end up buying most of my stuff online is because I got tired of walking into a Walmart to pick up some toothpaste and ending up spending $200. I would never get out of Walmart without spending $200 because Walmart is brilliant at suggestive selling, at, putting displays up of towels or throw blankets or pillows or plants, and you're like, well, I need this, and you feel like, you know what, oh, it's on sale, let me get that. And so while you're going to a store, you're getting manipulated, and this isn't in a bad way. Walmart is brilliant in terms of them still being able to be relevant post-COVID, but I got tired of that sort of impulse buy manipulation, and I'm not a big impulse buyer, but Walmart would, as I would tell my husband, remind me that we need X, Y, and Z. You know how much sunscreen I have because they would sell them in threes? I only needed one sunscreen for the summer, but for some reason I bought them in threes. So we have bottles and bottles of old sunscreen, which you should throw out because old sunscreen doesn't work that well and it could be hazardous. So for me, I'm like, I want toothpaste. I go on Amazon Prime. I buy the toothpaste. I'm good. I'm done. But the hardware store is one of the, iconic American parts of consumerism. And that piece, if we start to see that go away, that hurts. Now, one of the reasons why Lowe's and Home Depot has been able to withstand is because many people that do carpentry or do plumbing or gardening, etc., they're very tactile shoppers. They want to feel what they're buying. They want to know what they're getting. And they also want some options, and they want to immerse in what's around there, the smell of the wood. I love walking into a Home Depot or Lowe's. I love the smell. I just love that. So some people, they want to immerse like that. But we are training people, even with medicine, to do it yourself online. Do patients now walk into a doctor and say, this is what I want to do for myself. Doctor, teach me. What do you think? No, they're going to telemedicine saying, I want an antibiotic, give it to me and let me go about my day. So the consumerism trends are changing to people educating themselves online, pseudo-educating themselves sometimes, going, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need to be around people. I don't want any extras. I don't want anybody suggestive selling or telling me. You know how many people do not go to a doctor because they don't want the doctor to tell them they need their prostate checked or a colonoscopy? Patients are very open about this. And I'm like, if you had your mammograms, if you had your colonoscopy, no. Why not? Well, because I don't want to go into a doctor. They'll tell me to do it. You guys have been my doctor. It's a telemedicine company. We're not comprehensive in terms of being able to screen cancer to that degree. You're going to need to go to a doctor, and yes, they are going to suggest screenings. But people are now anti-suggestions. That's what we're seeing. I don't want you to guide me. I don't want your advice. The younger generation is really struggling because even if they want a parent's advice or a grandparent's advice, it's not very relevant. The advice a Gen X or a baby boomer gives does not always seem to fly with this certain landscape, with college and jobs. For me, I was trained, you become loyal to a job, you're with that place for 20, 25 years, it looks great on a resume. The younger generation says, no, if you're only at one place, then you haven't done different things. It hasn't looked like you've experienced more. They want to see a resume where you've done multiple things. And I'm like, but if they see you switch jobs every 2 years, isn't that bad? So, it's a different world. And part of that different world is going to make what is iconic in America, like a hardware store, obsolete, or a family doctor. A family doctor is becoming obsolete. And I hate that because I'm a family doctor. I'm family medicine. We went into a specialty that trained us how to take care of the baby, how to take care of the pregnant mom, deliver that baby, take care of those kids, take care of the siblings, take care of the mom, the dad, the parents, the cousins, the aunts, take care of the grandma, write the death certificate, be there at the hospital, be there at the funeral. We were trained to be there for the longevity of that family. And the average person doesn't, they meet the doctor once, twice, new doctor next time. And part of the art of what I was able to do was I was able to recognize that something looks different. Your color is different. Something's not right. So I don't want to see hardware stores go away. So we'll keep an eye on some of these closures. But it's a different time. 1-877-Daliah.
Sweet strawberry icing. You were strolling along in goodwill when just past that mid-century side table and denim jacket you spotted them, nestled in their display case. Miniature donut earrings. Oh, yes! Yes! Your favorite half-breakfast pastry, half-all-day dessert food, made into your favorite form of ear candy. Oh my. Those bejeweled sprinkles have satisfied some unknown hunger within you. Shh, do you smell that? That's the sugary scent of shopping success. For this is Goodwill. And with every item you buy, you fund local job training and more. So go forth. Bring home those donut earrings. And bring home so much good to your community. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show, 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. So we have multiple states now looking into redoing SNAP or limiting what SNAP will pay for in terms of junk food, soda, diet soda, sugary drinks, candy. And in fact, I think in Indiana, they're actually going to add rotisserie chicken. They're going to add extra certain foods that can be paid under SNAP. Now, SNAP is a Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Bipartisanly, Republicans and Democrats are fans of us providing nutrition to individuals who are of poverty level or above poverty level that are not able to feed their families healthy food. We want to supplement their nutrition. I am a huge fan of SNAP. I am, though, however, extremely against junk food being a part of SNAP. There is no flippin' reason anybody in Congress should want to promote diet soda or soda pop or sugary drinks or candy being paid for by taxpayers to be infused into this program or covered for that program. But as with everything, there are critics of that. Now, I guess the critics are saying that if you do that, you're going to slash $230 billion over the next 10 years. $230 billion in paying for junk food. Yeah. What's wrong with that? Well, that's going to hurt the junk food economy. Oh my gosh. People are going to lose jobs. the candy makers are going to lose jobs? No, so taxpayers have to keep candy makers employed? No. This is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's about nutrition. If something is not nutritious, it's not supposed to be covered. How the hell that got through and we've been paying for crap fake food this whole time, I don't know. But they're saying that if these changes happen, it's going to impact, according to CNBC, millions of U.S. shoppers and the retailers and the food and beverage companies that sell them. Listen, I like Coca-Cola. I think Coca-Cola, and I've even used Coca-Cola medicinally to help manage some people's nausea. Take a little bit of Coke, let the bubbles eviscerate out, and then use flat soda to help with the nausea. Or I've recommended that for years, a little bit of it. But I don't think they're going to go under if we cut SNAP benefits. I'm sorry, I don't. I think these companies are doing pretty darn good. But now we're being told 11 states have proposed banning using SNAP benefits to buy soda, candy, and other junk food. I'm not sure why it's only 11. Well, this should be bipartisan. Don't we all want to make America healthy again? Well, if you use Make America Healthy Again, all of a sudden people are like, oh, no, that's bad. They're finding something wrong with making America healthy again. Makes no sense. But, you are trying to supplement somebody's nutrition and give them vitamins, vegetables, lean meat, whole grains. We're trying to fight diabetes. We're trying to fight learning disabilities. We're trying to fight attention deficit. We're trying to fight obesity, skin conditions, yeast infections. Our nutrition affects all of it. And you would think we would have 100% support of that. Well, there's always critics. And so people are saying that this is a threat to them. They're also saying that this would hurt the cashiers, where the cashiers at these stores are going to now have to be the SNAP police. No, they don't. Yeah, I really don't understand why we don't have that program like we did in Nevada with WIC, where you would just they could grab the milk, the vegetables, the chicken, and go to the front counter and get those for free. I know they made it simple by doing this debit card to make everything electronic for people, but whatever you bring to the counter, if it's WIC, there's no charge. If you show us your WIC card, which is what they used to do, you don't get charged for this bag of vegetables, this bag of fruit, this chicken, this grains. This 2-liter bottle of soda pop, you do have to pay for. This sugary lemonade, you have to pay for. This box of cookies, you have to pay for. But the healthy food, they're free. So it'll be $15.79 for the rest of the stuff. I mean, that's how it used to be. And so I don't understand why people are thinking this is, you could also very easily incorporate a code where if there's a code on the barcode, that doesn't get written off. So when you scan something, if it's WIC allowed or SNAP allowed, it'll then, come up as 0. If it's a cookie, etc., whatever, it doesn't. It's very simple to do the barcodes. Everything's electronic anyway. But they're saying that this is going to ruin the economy. Really? It's not that, they say, well, you're cutting funding, no, you're not cutting nutrition. You're just saying that the money you're getting doesn't get to go to junk food Or if you are buying a sugary drink, it has to have less than 50% sugar. Now, somebody asked, why would diet soda? Because diet soda has no nutritional value. And don't start saying we're infusing vitamins. See, that's going to be the next trick. What these companies are going to do is say, look, we're going to stick in vitamin A or vitamin C. We're going to put some vitamins into your soda pop, so now it will be allowed under. Come on. We have a problem here. We used to drink water, milk, in the Grecian days, wine. We didn't have carbonated, corn syrup infused, food colored, bubbly drinks. We didn't drink that. Our bodies are not designed for that. Every now and then, if you want to have a little bit of a fizzy drink, I get that. A little fizzles, a little bit, might settle your stomach. I get that. I like it sometimes. But that doesn't mean the taxpayers have to pay for it. They say SNAP accounts for $112.8 billion or 4% of total U.S. food spending. This is according to Evercore ISI analysis of USDA data. So SNAP shoppers help keep Walmart, Kroger, General Mills, PepsiCo in business. 11 states have proposed limits on what families could buy with the funding, like soda, candy, junk food. Arkansas and Indiana both formally requested to prohibit the use of SNAP funds for such products. This is something that is, I think, long overdue. And I just don't understand how that got through in the first place. I can't tell you how many people are shocked. I was even shocked because I'm like, no. You can only use SNAP for vegetables and fish and milk. You can't buy junk food on it. And apparently the answer is yes, you can. Now, I don't think you could buy alcohol. I think they stopped that. There's somehow a block. So whatever block you have on alcohol and cigarettes, then implement that same block on junk food. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. Totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
All right, We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So we have some breaking news. We are being told that 4 people have been hospitalized after an active shooter opened fire at Florida State University's Tallahassee's campus. We are being reported by Daily Mail. You see students fleeing from the student union. This happened midday local time. And eyewitnesses told the Tallahassee Democrat that they heard that's the name of the paper, Tallahassee Democrat, that they heard what sounded like automatic gunfire. Officials at the Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare Hospital have not provided yet details, but thus far we know that there have been 4 injured victims. Students were sent an alert soon after gunshots were heard, ordering them to seek shelter. Police were on scene or on the way. Now, a witness on the scene told WCTV that they saw a college-age man exit the student union with a handgun. Meteorology student Garrett Harvey shared a clip of people running across the road saying there's a shooting around the student union. People are running across TN Street, or is that for Tennessee Street? So locals have been urged to stay inside, lock their doors, stay away from windows as the campus is right now under strict lockdown. As we get any more information on this, we'll let you know. But very, very frightening. The school has about 45,000 students. Apparently, Burt Reynolds was an alumni there, as well as Jim Morrison of The Doors. FSU Tallahassee is a public college located in Florida State Capitol, sits on the Panhandle, and many of the buildings nearby have also been placed on lockdown. You know, I've gone to college. I used to say most of my life. Now that I'm older, most of my life has now been out of college. But, you know, I really worry about how we have more and more individuals on this planet that want to take advantage of school situations. I think there was a Dallas high school the other day that sustained a shooting. That and unfortunately, one thing that we have advocated for, especially after COVID, is getting back to normal. Yeah, we're going to go back to class. We're going to go to a concert. Like after that Harvest 91 festival shooting, one of the worst mass shootings on American soil during peacetime, that ends up, just destroying the lives of so many, hundreds being hurt, killed. We eventually said we are going to overcome. We're Vegas strong. We aren't going to let fear stop us from living. And we're back at concerts. We're back having, enjoying New Year's Eve, on the Strip. We're going to enjoy Easter hunts. We're going back to school. And the COVID lockdowns taught us that it doesn't necessarily help. We end up regressing. It's not good for us as a human species. And our job on this earth, with whatever time we have left, is to live. Unfortunately, though, we have not been able to solve the problem of what to do with people who are active shooters or people who want to mow down people, such as the one on New Year's Eve in New Orleans. How do you prevent crowds from getting hurt? And on a school campus, you can't have security everywhere. My father was in the military, and so everywhere I go, I always kind of survey where the exits are. That's what he taught me, where your escape plan would be if somebody does come in and shoot. Don't have your back to the door. When you get on a plane, count the rows. I've taught you guys that, where when you get on a plane, count the rows to the exit. Because if there is a fire or an issue on a plane, it gets very cloudy and you might not be able to see where the exit row is. So if you remembered that you are 3 rows back from the exit, then you know where you are, and you could use that to gauge yourself. So, it's not just about sight or sound. If you can't see, how can you manage without that? And that plan B. And so sadly, campuses are not very safe. I went to UNLV, one of the best colleges ever. I loved going to UNLV. UNLV is a fantastic college, but it is considered a commuter school, and it isn't necessarily closed off where you have to go in through gates. There are multiple access points, from the street. That's how people, they park, they go in. And so there are a finite amount of entrances and exits. And I know UNLV security has been doing a fantastic job. And look at how they stopped that other shooter that happened last year. And my kids were on campus at the time. I mean, it's really frightening to see how vulnerable students can be. But we need to figure out a better way, because I don't know how we're going to stop these sick, disgusting, evil individuals who decide to take advantage and hurt others. Does everybody need to be trained in combat? Does everybody need to be trained in being able to disarm somebody? You don't really hear a lot of shootings, thank God, in Israeli schools, because everybody's been trained. Everybody has military training. They're going to take that shooter down before that shooter could even, reach his pocket. And maybe that's one of the things we can slowly work on. I don't know. But, when you have a school of tens of thousands of individuals, how do you keep them safe from somebody who just decides to walk on campus and hurt people? And it keeps happening. And, our poor security or campus police, there's only so much they could do. You're trying to watch 45,000 students. How do you do that with a team of 100 or a team of 200? Do we have to have metal detectors? Do we, I don't know what the answer is. But I keep talking about that one case where there was a shooter in an Oregon mall. And they could have, because it was a mall that was, closed off, they could have sadly done a lot of damage in the seconds or minutes they were firing. And there was a off-duty military, ex-military person who I believe was carrying, that got behind a pillar, but let him see that he had a gun on him. And once the shooter saw that somebody had a gun on him, he turned the gun on himself, and it stopped. The shooting stopped. He killed himself. So that active shooting situation was stopped because there was a good Samaritan. There was somebody there that was able to deter it, or if he needed to, stop it. And we kind of, and mind you, I do not want the police being burdened with vigilantes or people not knowing what they're doing. In fact, we have seen multiple times people try to do good and then they become victims themselves. But maybe that's the answer. When we hear, of these attacks thwarted, and it's by somebody who was trained and somebody who was able to stop the shooter, I keep thinking to myself, we need more of them. We need more of those people. So how do we get them? Do we need volunteers to train? Should this be in our training? I feel very fortunate that I know how to use a gun. I could carry a gun. I have my CCW. I know how to defend myself. I'm getting older, so there's only so much I could do. But having that knowledge and having that ability really makes me feel safer. Should everybody know how to protect themselves? Should everybody be trained in Krav Maga? I told you, when we discuss children in school, rather than them sitting all day long in classes, have their core classes in the morning, but the afternoon classes be all the practical stuff. One where they get exposed to all the trades, depending on their age group, the electricity, plumbing, law, medicine, etc. But they also should learn first aid. They should also learn self-defense. They should also learn how to fish, hunt, be able to feed themselves. 1-877 Doc Daliah, don't go away.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.